Wherever you are, welcome to Dumb SEO Questions, episode 191. Each week we gather here to answer the questions asked on the SEO Questions community on Google+, and also on the Dumb SEO Questions page on Facebook, and also on Dumb SEO QS on Twitter. I think Micah, just let me. Sorry, Masataki. Just give me a moment to press a button. It's 539. Okay, with us tonight, David Rozam. David is an SEO copywriter of so many years standing, we don't know, but at least 12 years as an SEO. You can find David in the bottom part of England, and also on writingforseo.org. Masataki Wasa is webmaster of wasaweb.net, and he's also a Google top contributor on the AdSense community. Masataki lives in Wimbledon in London, and Micah Fisher-Kirshner lives on the west coast of the USA. He's a regular on the public SEO speaking circuit, also senior SEO manager for Zendesk. Should I say that or not? Maybe not. Yes?
It's fine.
Okay. Cool. And all right, let's have a look at our questions tonight. We're looking at, just got to click the right button. Okay, so our first one, what can I do to have a rich Google snippet display in the search results? Pulkit Kurana asks, please be so kind to advise me, what can I do to have a rich Google snippet like Booking.com? My site is also using breadcrumbs, ratings and reviews, but I'm unable to show them in search results. So would it be possible for me to have that sorted URL, rating, stars and reviews on my site too? Looking forward to receiving your expert advice. Thanks in advance.
Well, I think both Dave Elliott and Tony McCreath provided the links in the comments. So Google basically has information on how to structure your data, and you can go to those articles. Those will provide you the information available to you, and then you just need to either work on it yourself or have an engineer to help to build it in. Now, bear in mind, putting that into the page doesn't mean you're going to actually get it. Google still's got to trust your site in some fashion in order for that to really fully show up. Just it helps to clarify what the content is on the page and gives Google a better understanding and likelihood of using it than you would otherwise.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, and I also thank our forum heroes, Tony McCreath and Dave Elliott, for providing answers through the week, and it makes our job so much easier when we come to review them. All right, let's move on to the next. Ankit Patel said, should I create 3 different URLs for all 3 languages? Ankit said, hello guys, in my website when you open it, it will ask you first for language selection, and then you can enter in the website, or then you can enter the website. Currently the same URL for all three languages. Should I have to create three different URLs for all three languages? For example, domain.com/ca /fr and /jp. Should we add three different meta titles and descriptions for the three different language website, or will Google automatically consider?
Yeah, you're going to need separate, whether it's separate domains or subdomains or subdirectories. Depending on the SEO you ask, that's going to vary. But if you're looking to rank for different languages in different countries, you're going to need separate domains, and you just got to be careful not to be asking or auto you got to be careful if you're asking or auto redirecting, because if you certain ways of how it's implemented can make it then not friendly from an SEO perspective. So you got French, Japan, Japanese, English. I'm pinging off a little bit of Dave here. Yeah, you need to then optimize them separately, and the content needs to be translated. And yes, that means maintenance of more than one site. So, you know, it does represent more work, so you have to determine whether the time and effort is worth it for your business and for the specific countries you're looking to target.
Yeah, and I'm not 100% sure what exactly is happening in a sense, because CA, I assume, means Canada, and that's not a language per se. So there's a mixture of locations and languages. So Canada, for example, you probably want to have a site in English and a site in French. For JP, you need to probably be in Japanese, and that's it. So I think I'm not 100% sure whether there's a clear distinction between location and language, because those are two separate things in my view. So if you have a site that's targeting particular geographical location, and that might be in 2 or 3 languages possibly, so Canada, French, and English. If it's in Belgium, it'd be Dutch and French, and things like that. And then you probably want to have in those instances country-specific domains, so .ca perhaps or .be. But that doesn't. They don't necessarily tie into a specific language, if that makes sense, because there is more than one language. There are multiple languages spoken in those countries.
Cool.
And obviously you have to use hreflang to make sure that everything is referring to every other version of the same content.
Yep, and sorry, go ahead, Mr. Taki.
Yeah, I'm just saying that's for location and language. So you might have specific site for English speakers in Canada, which is distinct from perhaps it's not mentioned in this instance, but from let's say .com, which might be targeting the US English speakers, or .co.uk for English speakers in Britain. But then you'd have a site, you have hreflang pointing towards French speakers in Canada, French speakers in France perhaps, or French speakers in Belgium. And you might have a site that is specifically, it might be .co.uk .jp, for example, which might be the only only version in Japanese. Then you'd point that for Japanese speakers rather than for Japanese speaker in a specific country. So there are things to consider there, because I'm not 100% sure, the overlap between the geographical distinction of different bits and the linguistic distinction between different versions. They don't necessarily match all the time.
Cool. I think we can call that a wrap. Does David want to add anything? Okay. Right. Ankit Patel, I think that, and also our forum heroes, Dave Elliott, I see, he's been very busy this week. I think we can call that an answer. All right, another one for Ankit Patel. He said, he asked, what is the idle length of meta title and description for a non-English version website? I tell you, I see Dave Elliott's response there. They've just this last week, we might even have a news item about it. Changed the length of the title length that's displayed in search engine result pages, and increased the length of it. But Dave pointed out to be careful with Japanese, as they use double byte characters, and so only have half as much space available.
Yeah, in the sense that you could only fit so many characters in that space. I think it will depend on the browser setting, doesn't it? The font. Most people use proportional font, I think, in Japanese. So it can vary, because it's the same with Latin alphabet, right? Because L takes much small, lowercase L will take much less space than an M, and it's an absolute length, isn't it? It's not defined by how many characters, how many letters. It is by the length that is available on the screen. So if you have in Latin characters, if you have many M's, for example, then you'd be able to fit fewer characters in that space than if there is a string of L's. In Japanese, the variance is smaller, so in that sense you can be more precise, I suppose, or it's more predictable, because a lot of people use fixed sized fonts, so each character will be the same size, and even if it's proportional font, the variances are smaller than, let's say, Latin characters, where the width of a letter between an L and an M, that is quite large in Latin alphabet. That kind of thing doesn't really happen in Japanese.
Okay, we'll call it another answer for Ankit Patel. Here's one for Niraj Pandey. He said, can I have one app supporting all CCTLDs? He said, hi, can I have one app supporting all CCTLDs? If yes, then what should I do to get all of the web pages app support and app index for them? Regards. I don't know if we have anybody with that skill set on board tonight, do we? No, Niraj, I'm sorry, mate. We can't help you tonight. I can't even come up with a lie that sounds plausible. All right. Okay. Let's move on to the next one. Sorry, Niraj. Yasser Mohammed asked a question on duplicate title tags and meta description. Google Webmaster is suddenly showing that I have duplicate title tags and meta descriptions when I have never had any in the past. The duplicates seem to be mostly involve images on my site. The only recent change to my site that I can think of is adding AMP plugins. Would this be causing duplicates?
AMP plugin. So yeah, possibly. I mean, if the, it's possible if you haven't set the connection between your AMP pages and your regular web pages. There's a specific meta tag where you need to basically tell Google what the AMP pages are and what the corresponding page it equates to. So that in theory, because I haven't really worked with AMP, I'm just familiar kind of with some of the coding and what needs to be done. That should connect the two together so Google doesn't recognizes they're one and the same and so won't complain. So I would check to make sure that you've set the correct canonical between the two, as laid out in the actual guidelines for the use of AMP.
Okay. It's interesting. In the comments in the SEO questions community, they mention two users mention an issue that occurred after compression. I'm trying to figure out what compression would do. I can't see that making a change. Anyway,
no,
yes,
it would be the plugin. So that they need to check to make sure the plugin is doing what it's supposed to be doing.
Yeah. All right. Well, we made it to question number 6 on our run list. Sorry, Yasser. This one is from Malakazuna S. A problem with the .education domain name. Malakazuna S said, "Hi everyone. While submitting my website into social bookmarking sites, an error showing invalid URL or block URL shown in social bookmarking appears. My main domain extension, my domain extension is .education. I try to submit in many sites, but the same problem. It's not taking even internal links. Also, it's it's not taking even internal links. But I did one more test, submitted the same domain with extension .com. In this time it will. This time it worked. So what can I do for this? My domain is .education. Can you please suggest to me what I can do for this issue and how I can improve my ranking on a search engine results page? What is the problem with a .education URL, and what is the solution for this? Thanks in advance."
The problem and your solution is you're on a .education URL. There's a very good likelihood that the sites that you're submitting kind of some of your content to doesn't recognize GTLDs. So a lot of the newer domain names, like .education, are probably not something set up for a lot of the older sites that may only recognize kind of more of the standard .tld, the regular TLDs, .com, .co.uk, etc. So that is very likely to be the situation. And if you're looking to see if that is the case, you should check. You should reach out to the sites that you're submitting to and see if they're able to look into it and find out what the problem is. Now, that's the overall part. If you're looking to succeed in SEO, I would caution against the use of going through to social bookmarking sites. Those are probably not necessarily the most white hat or helpful type of sites these days. So just kind of as a note, if you're looking for that. And there's a good likelihood you're going to potentially run into a lot of these issues. Most people are used to using the extension of a regular TLD. So you're probably going to have this run in quite a few areas. And there's not much you can do if the areas you're targeting don't understand that it's an actual .education and not a .com.
Yeah, totally agree. Forms which accept domain names or email addresses usually use regular expressions for validation, and I really don't think anybody envisaged a domain that had so many letters in it.
Much less the ones that are coming out that are non-English. I mean,
Don't die on me, David Rozan.
Yeah, I mean, it's already affecting David Rozan, so hey.
Just out of interest, do you have to be in an educational institution to have a .education domain?
I don't know.
Because in most cases they're controlled, right? .edu, you have to be an educational organization. It's, I think, same with .ac.uk here, and so it'd be interesting to know, because some countries don't have a specific sort of secondary one for second level domain for educational institutions. They just have to use the country top level domain. So in those cases it might be interesting, but if it's free for all, then.
And there's also the amount of confusion that could come from having the first three letters the same as .edu. So, people find that .education doesn't work in some circumstances and think, oh, well, maybe they mean .edu, and end up at completely the wrong site. I think that there could be all sorts of problems with a domain name like this.
Yeah, well, I can give you an example. I, in a fit of madness, one day registered a domain, an Indian TLD. So I registered while.in, and because I was going to do a travel site, while in / Calcutta, and etc., etc. But anyway, I didn't ever build the travel site, but I still had the domain, and a friend of mine was going overseas, and he wanted an email address, so I gave him reg@whilein, and poor old Reg, he got bashed from pillar to post. Nobody would accept his email, and they said, no, that can't be right, no, it's got to be something else. Actually, but he still got that address, anyway. All right. Anybody else for Malicana? All right, let's call that an answer for Malicana. Here's one from Christian Stelmack. Interesting one. How search engines treat invisible words. Christian said, hello. Is there any way to make part of a word invisible for the viewer, but still let it get read by Google without the SEO black hat penalty? No. For example, moon boots. And the breadcrumb goes on: moon visible boots, invisible moon. This isn't because I want to trick search engines, but because of a certain affiliate company's change in their terms of service, which suddenly doesn't even allow the trademark. The use of trademark terms in domains, like in news articles. Does anyone want to answer this for Christian?
So, I understand that you're not looking to trick the search engines, but that's doing something like that is essentially tricking the search engines. Whether you are trying to, because in the end you're showing one thing to a user and another to the engines themselves. So yeah, there's honestly there's not necessarily a way around this. Well, yeah, if you're looking to have Google understand moon boots, but you can't visually show it, then you can't do it. Whether or not that small amount is going to get you into trouble with Google is another story. But if you were doing that at a larger amount and consistently, then it's going to get you into trouble on Google's end. So yeah, so that's just kind of the problem on that. There's not really anything you can do that I can think of, at least.
No, showing one thing to users and another thing to Googlebot is open and shut. Go directly to jail. Do not collect $200.
Yeah, you can get fancy. You know, as I'm thinking about it, you can get fancy and hope that Google will recognize who you're talking about, so you can start and use the phrase moon in one side and boots in another, and just not have the two together in one word, and hope that Google's recognizing, and as well as for users, recognizing what the implicit story that you're talking about matches up to the company, in actuality, the company's name. But that's just playing off of their TOS, which could still, you know, they might not be happy with if that's what the limitations are in there.
Yeah. Interesting comments in the SEO questions community on this from Alex Wally and Tony McCreath. Well worth a read. All right, let me tweet that and let's go to the next one. Now, this one is from Alex Wally. Profiling and analyzing a competitor's backlinks. Hi guys, a dumb SEO question for you. And he smiled, you see. I'm doing it. Yeah. He said, regarding indexing of links, referencing Ahrefs, but any WebSpider link indexing service will provide the same data. Not necessarily. Assuming everyone is using the same Majestic SEO data, but I digress. Question is this, whenever I'm doing competitor profiling and analyzing their backlinks, I always find dynamically created URLs from sites like ask.com and a heap of really dodgy looking Google-powered web browsers. I don't know what that means. Something about a bear from memory. LOL. I don't have an exact URL example at present, but if needed, I can add more detailed information, like the competitor in question, the links I'm referring to, and anything else that might help. But I was hoping someone here has experienced the same thing and managed to figure out, WTF, what is going on. Not only are these dynamically URLs being indexed by Google, picked up by, oh, sorry, I missed that. Not quick enough. Picked up by Majestic and then presented to me through Ahrefs, they are also being assigned a fairly high page and domain authority, making me question whether in fact they are contributing to the overall link profile. Everything I know about SEO, which I've been doing for 10 years now, tells me that this should not be happening, but yet I see it all the time. Have you seen dynamically generated search parameters within a URL get indexed and added to the link profile? On a side note, have I just found the blackest hat SEO ever? Okay, anybody for this one? Dave Elliott, in the comments, Dave said, he said, I'm guessing the things from ask.com are all the Google adverts on the bottom, and then which then 302 divert to the competitor's page. If so, this is legitimate and just a normal advertisement. Surprised that Majestic or Ahrefs aren't smart enough to realise that they are adverts and discount them, though.
I mean, I've seen dynamic URLs often with Majestic, and that I've often found that sometimes Majestic pulls in search results as links, even though that you look at it and say, okay, that's a search result, probably not giving any value. But with a high page and domain authority, I mean, it's entirely possible that sometimes people are trying to fake some of those numbers. So I would kind of question, just off the top of my head as I'm looking at it and going, I wouldn't really say that those things would be helping, and it's most likely just stuff that you would normally filter out and say, yeah, this is just junk. This is not really anything that counts. But pretty sure I've seen kind of this type of situation before without knowing what the actual URLs specifically are. Oh yeah, the ask one. Ask is, yeah, that's just ask. I wouldn't. Yeah, I mean, those are things where sometimes I've just noticed that Majestic picks those up.
I think it's because the way Googlebot works, it crawls asynchronously in that it crawls a page and doesn't then act on the data in that page. It dutifully archives that page and then crawls the archived page at some later point in time. So it's totally asynchronous. And that combined with the 302 redirect, Googlebot has never ever learned how to understand 302s. You get all sorts of weird things happening. I remember years ago I accidentally used a 302 instead of a 301, and somehow or other we ended up with 400,000 products in the Google index, all with affiliate links showing up in the SERP. Which I didn't mind.
Yeah.
In fact, I spent days and days trying to figure out how I did that. Look, Alex, I think you'll be happy with Dave Elliott's responses on this one, unless somebody else has something else they'd like to add. I'm recording that as a no, and we'll go to the next one. This one from John Pitcher, a website with 3 inner service location pages. John said, for a website that includes 3 inner service location pages, brackets, Service Town A, Service Town B, and Service Town C, which also has an About Our Company page, should the title tag of the home page be 1. Service Town A, Town B, Town C, or Service County Company Name, or company name, service, county. He goes on to say the service town keywords are the most important for the website.
Let's see if I can pick my way through this. I'd be concerned about pages within the site competing with each other, and perhaps not getting the quite as high for town A or town B or town C as if you were properly targeted upon it. I think that I would probably be looking for number 2, your service, county, and company name, because the county is something that encompasses the towns. Presumably, all towns are in the same county. Doesn't actually say the question, but I'm assuming in this. Yes, and the service. So we're saying Cobblers, West Sussex, Tony's Shoe Repairs. Depends. The service part of it, I'd try and be a little bit more specific than just a service descriptor, because there's liable to be a lot of competition for it. But I wouldn't put the town names on in the title tag for the homepage.
Okay. Anybody else on this one?
Shane Tin
John? Pardon?
would have lots to say about this.
Who did?
I said that it's a shame Tim's not here. Presumably, he hasn't got an internet connection from Russia, so he's not helping us out today.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the next. Rohan Verma asked a question titled Relevant Keywords. Rohan said, "Hi everyone, my question is that someone asked me that you someone told me that you have to submit the main keywords of these offers on related blogs. Try to find out those blogs which are relevant. What am I supposed to do? Please help me." Actually, it's for their website, which has some offers. Actually,
I agree with Massa's comment here in the chat. It sounds a lot like that Rohan is being advised to do a little bit of comment spamming, which is not a good thing to do, and possibly will get you into trouble. You're certainly wasting your time doing it. Do some proper SEO rather than some old-fashioned comment spamming.
Yeah, I agree on that one. Any more agreement anywhere? Okay. Let's go to the next. This one is from Ankit Patel on relevant meta title and description. Ankit said, "Hi guys, a dumb SEO question for you. For my website, I have written down relevant meta titles and descriptions for all of the pages and product pages. But a Google search result page takes the meta title from the H4 tag of the website and indexes them. So what are the steps I need to follow to index my written meta title and description in Google? Let me jump in, guys. I know the answer to this one. I see Dave Elliott said, wait a few weeks until your site has been recrawled. Well, look, yes, but I think I can add more to that. Google doesn't always use your meta description. You can put a meta description there and hope that Google will use it, but if Google thinks that they've got a snippet of text off the page that is a better meta description for the query, they will use that. And sometimes, it depends on how good your meta description is and how targeted your page is. But I've seen results where almost every result was one chosen by Googlebot.
Yeah, to piggyback off of Jim, assuming that the terms you're looking at are kind of fairly standard, that basically means you're writing your title tags wrong. That's in Google's eyes. That's pretty much what it's suggesting. Now, if you're doing some like esoteric stuff and you're just checking things and you're seeing a rewritten title, then okay, that's different. But if the terms you care about that you're trying to rank for, and Google's rewriting your title tag, that it just basically means you're doing it wrong. And by wrong, that could either be you're not putting in the terms into the title, they're not in the title. It may be that you're cloaking in some ways accidentally, so the actual code that Google's looking at is different. You want to make sure. Most situations, you can check the cache and see kind of what Google is seeing and see if it matches to what you thought it should be. And then there's always the part of make sure you have your brand name in the title, because Google does want that. So yeah, those are potential situations. Description can get hazier. I mean, it's just tougher, but at least if both title and description are being rewritten, then something's up. I would check to make sure that everything is matching to what you thought it should be for the desired terms you're trying to rank that page for.
Okay, thanks, Micah. All right, well, we've charged through these. I think we've got one more. This is from Andres Felipe Echevarria Haneo, who says that many of my mobile pages are de-indexed. He said, hi guys, I hope you can help me with this. In our sites, we start to see that our URLs for mobile devices were de-indexed, and at the same time, our M.dot site started to index URLs. As a result, we're seeing a loss in the total traffic. We are asking our IT guys if they do something that has made this happen, and they said no, they didn't do anything. Do you guys know, is Google de-indexing the non-mobile URLs to index the M-site URLs? Or in fact, were the IT guys that implement something, or did the IT guys implement something that changed it? I'm thinking that they implemented the 302 redirection, but how can I see that? Federico Sasso has given a good answer. With M.dot sites, it's been my experience that the M.dot site doesn't affect the main site. Well, at least generally, the M.dot site picks up a different set of keywords even using the same content. I don't know why. I've tried to figure out why, but the MDOT site stands alone and actually picks up more keywords. So I haven't seen any negatives, such as Andres Felipe's reporting.
I mean, do you want the M.dot site to appear in the search results?
Of course.
No, because if you have the www version for desktop and M.dot version for mobile, both have the same content, then wouldn't you want to canonicalize it to the www version?
No, but the thing is...
No, you want it to appear in... Sorry, go ahead, Micah.
Oh, yeah, the thing is he's the M.dot is specific for mobile devices. So basically what's happening is www is not mobile friendly, and he has a separate subdomain for the mobile so that it can be on a mobile device. But yeah, in the comments, like Federico basically went through it and found there is a 302 served, which is likely to be the issue. And while the IT team has suggested they've not done anything, they've probably accidentally did something that now Google is seeing. And so that's probably what's causing the issues. So.
Yeah, I agree with you, Micah.
302 from what to what?
Oh, let's see what Federico said. 302 is in place when mobile devices hit the www site.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's a 302 redirection to the M.dot, and if I'm reading the initial comment correctly, yeah. So if the mobile pages are going away and you've run a 302, you're basically telling Google that temporarily the pages are going to the M.dot, but don't index those. Do the wwws. So that's where the issue is in place for that.
It tests on the viewport of the user. In the header, it's got a viewport test, and if it does recognise a mobile device, it flips it to the equivalent page on the M.dot site. All right, so I think we have covered all of the questions asked on the SEO questions community on Google Plus this week. I'm very pleased this week with 12 questions we had. Well done. Now we move on to our SEO news roundup. This is something that Mike has never seen before. You know, he's off. He's not going to wait.
I'll stay for one more. I can stay for one more.
All right. Well, each week we cover topics of interest which are posted on the SEO news community, and one topic that's just been posted, I think it's a good thing. Google bans payday loan advertisements. These are these horrible people that prey on the people that can least afford to be preyed on with payday loans at usurious interest rates, 150% interest week on week, and ridiculous things like that. So yes, I'm pretty glad that they're not going to be in my search results. I won't try to read the article, but I'd like to know your comments. Is Google suddenly discovered a new motto? You know, would they be deciding to say "Don't be evil" or something like that?
I guess they had just had too much problems with the payday loan space, and decided that it was best to divest themselves from it.
Yeah, I think because different countries have different regulations, don't they? So certain forms of payday loans are illegal in many countries. So I think it would have been quite difficult for Google to be on top of absolutely everything in terms of all the different payday loan advertisers and making sure that they are all compliant for each individual location that Google operates in. So I think I have a feeling it's partly convenience thing as well as compliance. So it's back to. Go ahead.
Sorry, Mr. Ducky.
No,
Go
I was
ahead.
going to make a flippant remark about it. It's going to be back to people with baseball bats coming around and knocking on your doors, rather than finding payday loans online.
If you have to repeat it, it's no longer flippant. Okay. The inimitable Tim Capper made a study of payday loan sites, and we eventually, with his results, decided that Google had to employ somebody to manually clean those entries in the organic search results. Anyway, that's news item 1 done, and let me see. Let's go to the next, and this one posted by David Roseanne. Google's new mobile-friendly test available to all users. Google has officially launched their new mobile-friendly test to all users. This coincides with the recent increase to Google's mobile-friendly ranking boost this month. Was there a ranking boost for mobile? I don't think so.
There's been talk of, hasn't there? But I think the story, if it is a story, is well, it's a story, but whether it's news, is that Google are rather keen on us getting our sites working well for mobile, and this is all part of that. So if they're expecting us to do a good job for making sites mobile friendly, here's a nice new and fresh tool for testing out said sites. The interesting thing, or one of the interesting things here, is that the URL for the old test doesn't redirect to the new test, and there's a new test URL. So if you want to use this thing, make sure you're going to the right place.
I have a question. Speaking of M-dot sites, I mean, the purpose of doing an M-dot site is so that you can optimize to the nth degree for the mobile. If the right redirects are in place, therefore your desktop version site, the main site, doesn't need to be mobile friendly. So why is Google giving a mobile friendly ranking boost to desktop version sites that may be cobbled up with some responsive design, when they'd be penalising somebody who is doing a better job than the competitor, who may be just a WordPress site that plonked a plug-in there?
Well, it goes back to the question that we dealt with, was the question 12. Then the thing is, if you have, let's say the desktop site and the mobile site both indexed, then the argument would go that mobile site would rank better, right?
No, the the mobile site shouldn't appear in the normal Google search. You shouldn't see it. They're all rel canonical back to the main site.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there won't be two there. But I don't think it's fair.
But if the 302 is in place, it'd be fine, right?
Well, Google's just testing to see if the page is mobile friendly.
Yeah, I mean but there are two things. That's the tool that we can use, and we can plonk our URIs in and see what Google thinks, right? So that tool that we have access to, and the Google crawl bot, which is an iPhone, as far as I'm aware. So if that crawls through, then it should be 302 redirected to the mobile site.
Yes, but which one do you think Google is testing? The mobile site?
I mean, I think Google would be aware of the situation that there are redirects for specific mobile site. There must be a lot of cases of that. So I would think / hope that they take that into consideration. So,
well, you'd hope so, but the average age of a Googler. Did you know the average age of a Googler is 29 years old? I mean, do you want to trust questions like this to some cocaine-sniffing emo?
I can see the writ flying towards you at the moment.
Yeah. I have absolutely nothing to do with that comment.
No, I'm condoning it as well.
David Razdam and Masataki Wasa expressly disavow the previous statement by Jim Munro, and it was a throwaway line,
Yes, there's a disavow tool, you see. Now, I would think that they'd be aware of the situations like that, and then take into consideration. And the crawl bots do follow 302s, right? So I think it'd be fine.
All right. Okay. So we'll know this is the one that I got sued on. Let's move to the next, and this one: will Google increase the desktop title tag?
No. That's me being not putting the headline in the in the question or in the news story bit. It actually should say the new mobile title tag lengths for Google are longer than the desktop ones.
Ah, I see. And will some sites want to implement m.domain.com rather than responsive design? Yeah, well, I don't know whether a longer title tag is necessarily a good thing.
I don't know either. It's something that it's one of those sort of mechanical SEO things, isn't it? We've got a bit more space. What should we do with it? Oh, let's put some keywords in it. Bonk. It's interesting that they're doing this. My bet is that we'll see that the desktop title tag will become the same length, but at the moment it ain't. And I think it's interesting, and I would wonder whether anyone is going to take this this idea that as there are two different lengths, the way to do it, the way to access the extra, or one way of accessing the extra space is to set up an m.domain.com version of the site. So you've got a whole set of title tags. There's probably some other way of doing it, but it sounds a bit wonky to me. But nonetheless, Google has done something wonky in making title tags different for mobile and desktop.
So wait a minute. So on mobile, there are 2 lines. Is that it?
No, they're a bit longer. There's a few more characters. I'm not sure whether they are. Shall I do a Google search on my mobile?
Oh, please do. Yes, because I thought it was 2 lines, or perhaps 3. So it should be the mobile sort of screen width times the number of lines, right? So that would be longer than the single line on desktop. That's how I haven't read the articles, so I don't know, but that had been my assumption.
No, they're not. That's how they're coming. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah. Do you have results that run into more than 2 lines?
No. No, they're all just one line.
And obviously mobile devices have different screen sizes, so I thought I used to see 2-line results. Let's see.
Yeah, mine's a 6S Plus, so
yeah.
If it's going to go to, if it's not going to fold over to 2 lines, I guess it's going to be on that screen size.
Yeah, I get some a few results on my Nexus 5 that runs into 2 lines. So, obviously it's a card style, so the width is not the screen width. But if you do have 2 full lines of that would be longer than what you'd see on a desktop in terms of pixel length, I think. And if in your case, it's much larger, much wider, so the 2 lines of that would be far longer than what Google shows in a single line on desktop.
I'm sorry about that noise. That's Boris settling.
What you mean he's not out on the campaign trail doing Brexit?
Not that Boris.
Oh, I thought
Boris the dog.
Come and snug it up on your floor.
Actually, Boris the mongrel. Then you wouldn't know which was which, would you?
No, probably not. I'm almost getting into Jim's Ritland here. I'm sure that Mr. Johnson is of the highest pedigree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, look, I have to say that I've referred to Googlers as cocaine sniffing emails before, obviously that was just a made-up thing. It was just a total fabrication, and I don't want anybody to think that they sniff cocaine. They're all on crack. Anyway, here we go. I know I've already tweeted that. Here's a problem. My screen is mucked up. Oh, Chase must have deleted his image. I can see where it was up the top there. But anyway, Chase posted. Yeah. Chase posted on the SEO News community that that he has a podcast, SEO News, with Chase and Erin Mackay, on May the 17th. It's an original idea, Chase. How did you figure that one out? Anyway, I wish him the very best of luck with it. Let me go to the next, and it's thank you for watching. Well, at that time again, we've answered all of the questions on the SEO questions community and all of the news items on the SEO News community. Now, if there are no other items of general business, no? Okay. Look, we thank you for watching. Your interest in what we do makes what we do worthwhile, and for that we thank you most sincerely. We'll be back at the same time next week to do this all again, but for now, it's good.